Tyson Fury is still retired, and that was the fight that Anthony Joshua really wanted. And since Fury announced his retirement, we haven't really heard about anything with regard to Anthony Joshua. I know Eddie Hearn is given a five-man short list. We haven't heard anything from Anthony Joshua himself. He said Dubois is the front runner, in spite of the fact that Turki Alalshikh wants to do Dubois Usyk. And, I think Turkey is kind of the guy. He has the final say. But it's interesting. I have this article here from TV 360 Nigeria. And it says, and I quote, this is the article: Fury warns Joshua against Dubois rematch. British boxer Tyson Fury has warned Anthony Joshua against the rematch with Daniel Dubois. The two British heavyweights have long been rivals of the sport, providing plenty of drama and excitement in the boxing scene over the past decades. Both have held world titles, but a showdown between the two has never materialised. Speaking to the Stomping Ground, that's obviously Charlie Parsons' channel, Fury expressed doubt over Anthony Joshua's chances in a rematch with Daniel Dubois. No, he can't win the rematch. I don't think he can. I don't even think he will take the rematch, said Tyson Fury. Although there was hopes for a Fury versus Joshua showdown, Fury's retirement has put that fight on hold for now. I think we all say for now. Should Dubois face Usyk, Joshua will have to consider other top contenders to stay active and possibly set up a bigger fight later this year. Names like Joe Parker and Ajay Kabayel, both holding interim titles and ranked highly, could be serious options for Anthony Joshua moving forward. I just want to reread that again. The interview he gave with Parsons. Expressed doubts in a rematch. Do I think he can win? No, he can't win the rematch. I don't think he can. I don't think he will take the rematch. Well, that's what Tyson Fury is saying. Now, Team Joshua, I still can't quite get over the fact that there's a rematch clause for Team Joshua, considering the fact he was a voluntary challenger. There's normally a rematch clause in place for voluntary defences, all right, if you're the champion, but not if you're the challenger. And Anthony Joshua, he was really treated like the champion in that fight. I mean, he walked to the ring second. I don't like that. I don't like it when Canelo does it when he's the challenger. I think if you're the champion, you've earned the right to come to the ring second. I didn't like that, but it didn't make any difference. But the fact of the matter is, Anthony Joshua lost that fight comprehensively. I mean, he was never in it. He literally had 5 seconds of success and then got knocked out nearly out cold. And the fact that there's a rematch clause there now still, I don't like that. I really don't like it. And Tyson Fury expressing his doubts over Joshua winning the fight or over winning the rematch should it happen. I agree. I don't think he wins the rematch. I don't know how you could win a rematch against someone who's been as dominant as that in the fight. If you look at Beterbiev Bivol, you couldn't really split them first time around. Razor close decision, no problem with Beterbiev getting it, could have went either way. Second time around, Bivol, I felt, was the deserved winner second time around. But again, if you had Beterbiev, you preferred his aggressive pressure. I can't really argue with you. They're much of a muchness. There's neither of those two fights. They've shared 24 rounds. Neither of those two fights you could really look at and say, one guy was dominated. You couldn't do that. You could never look and say, Beterbiev won the first fight. It's going to be even easier this time. Because you look and you think they're both at the highest level. They're both extremely talented. And, you can't really split them. If they have a trilogy fight, God knows who will win, right? The fans will definitely win, but God knows who between the two will win. Whereas when you look at Joshua Dubois, you're like, whoa, that was one-sided. There's literally nothing Joshua could do in that fight with Daniel Dubois. He literally did nothing, could do nothing with him. And you're thinking, well, how the hell are you going to beat him the second time if you fight him? So I don't think he'll beat him the second. And as well as that, we've seen Joshua after beatings from people like Andy Ruiz. Although he won that rematch, he fought very cautiously. He didn't want to engage. Ruiz was plodding all around the ring. Anyway, and as well as that, he had enough success in the first fight that it was like, okay, I can beat you second time. But he had no success in that Dubois fight. None. So I don't see how it beats him. And as well as that, Joshua, at 34, 35, coming in off the back of a knockout loss like that, where it wasn't just the fact that he was nearly knocked out cold. He was dropped heavy in the first round. He took unnecessary punishment in round number 3 because Marcus McDonnell, the referee who was refereeing Paddy Donovan, Lewis Crooker, he was refereeing that fight as well. And he let Anthony Joshua take an unnecessary amount of extra punishment in round three. When Joshua got buzzed in round number three and he fell into the ropes, that was a knockdown. I mean, I think even at ringside they were calling it a knockdown, and McDonald let it carry on, and Joshua proceeded to take more headshots and more punishment before finally going down again, and then him finally calling it a knockdown, which was ridiculous, right? So I don't see him winning. In terms of will he even take the rematch, I know Eddie Hearn is saying, that's what we're going to do next. Well, at the end of the day, right, we could have had that rematch on the last crescendo. We could have had it. At the end of the day, Joshua announced immediately after the fight that he would invoke the rematch clause. Okay, fair enough. You're going to invoke it. I don't agree with it. I don't think it should have been in there, but fair enough. You're going to take it. Take it. And then we were hearing, well, actually, no, we're not going to take it. That Anthony Joshua has niggles and that he won't be ready for February because he'll only start training camp in December. Excuse me? Well, many fighters would have little niggles. We're not talking about a massive debilitating injury or anything like that. If it was that, fair enough, I can understand it. But starting training camp in December for a fight at the back end of February is pretty normal. I mean, that's pretty standard. So you're talking, December, January, you're talking about at least 2 to 10 or 2 months, maybe about 10 weeks. That's pretty standard for a heavyweight. That's pretty standard for most. So for me, it was a real case of, all right, we can say it's niggles and this, that, and the other. They didn't really want it. I think at this point now, given the fact that there really are no options, because the only option at the start of the year was Tyson Fury. Joshua mentioned it. I think Frank Warren mentioned it, but Eddie Hearn certainly mentioned it. Now that the options are gone, what else is there? Do you fight an Adja Kabayel for an interim title? It's not really going to sell. Do you fight a Parker for an interim title? Well, you probably could sell that, but Joseph Parker is going from strength to strength to strength, and Anthony Joshua, I think, is at the point of diminishing returns. So you really do just roll the dice on a Dubois rematch and just hope for the best. I don't think he's any chance of winning that fight, but I guess that's the most lucrative fight out of a bad bunch of style options, because I wouldn't pick him over the three of them. If he fought Caballero, I wouldn't pick him. If he fought Parker, I wouldn't pick him. Certainly won't be picking him if he fights Dubois. And that's it. I think Fury is the only fight logically for Anthony Joshua, or Deontay Wilder, actually, for that matter. God knows what he's doing these days. But I think that's literally the only one. So I do agree with Tyson Fury. I don't think he wins the rematch. I don't think he necessarily takes it, because I don't think that even if he wants to, Turki Alalshikh will let him. I mean, he's made it crystal clear, Turki has, that, all right, Dubois, Usyk. That's what I want to say, Dubois versus Usyk. I don't think Eddie Hearn is in a position, certainly now, where he can go and say, I don't care what Turki wants, this is what we want. I don't think he's going to do that. I'd be very surprised if he does. I don't think that would go down like a lead balloon with Turki, I would imagine, if he did do that. Because all it's going to do is kick the can down the road. And I don't want to do it, certainly not with Alexander Usyk. So, yeah, I do agree. I have to say, it doesn't happen often, but it does. I agree with Tyson Fury in his assessment with the stomping ground on Anthony Joshua's chances. I don't give him any chances in a rematch with Dubois. I mean, I would say it's as high as probably 80-20 in Dubois' favour in terms of how I think it goes and who I think wins. I think Dubois probably wins it even earlier this time. Seriously. And I think that he will know that get through this fight, Alexander Usyk is next. Because although against Joe, we didn't see how he would have looked against Joseph Parker. And given how Parker looked, again, against the Piccoli, context is everything. You do have to take that into consideration. The guy probably had no sleep. The guy was probably jet lagged and he was out of shape. He did look sharp. But in the highlights we've seen of Dubois fight week, man, he looked sharp. So that would have been a great fight. And Dubois is just going from strength to strength to strength. And I think that him knowing that I win this fight, I get the Usyk fight next. I get a chance to get redemption and, avenge that loss. And for undisputed, man, I think you're just going to run into an absolute brick wall. He's just going to have the bit between his teeth. He's going to look at you like, how dare you get in the way of me fighting Alexander Usyk? See you later. And I think, honestly, if Joshua fights Dubois, it's going to end earlier and probably more decisive. And that really is it. I mean, if it's back-to-back bad knockout defeats, I don't even know how you sell a Tyson Fury fight at that point. I really don't. And cynically, I would imagine Tyson Fury will be straight up saying, I'm back. Joshua, where are you at? If he did fight Dubois and got chinned again. So, yeah, there are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed the video, people. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe. All of that good stuff. Until next time, I will leave it there. Peace.